So, 12.1 is right round the corner. So what better time than now to go over 12.1, Outlaw's somewhat promising future this upcoming tier. Yeah, promising. Well, slightly promising to be precise, but still crazy, right? And do our usual recap of the season just gone, and go over what lessons there are to be learnt going forward into the next one. And after discussing what we know Outlaw is getting next season, things that we're still unfortunately not getting and would still very much like to see. I mean, I guess a better time to do this would have been a month ago with the PTR went up. But I'm afraid I've been too busy taking advantage of Midnight Season 1's solo queue rated PvP ladder, which is more inflated than Aunt Marge after smashing a lentil soup and a protein shake. So as a result, in combination with a little bit of well-deserved IRL rest and relaxation, I've been a bit MIA on YouTube, but I'll be damned if I don't get out my seasonal recap video. So, as always, let's kick it all off with the usual segment, which regulars of this channel will be familiar with. A little segment called What Cringe Shit Did Outlaw Have to Deal With This Time? Roll the graph. So, the story of Midnight Outlaw thus far. After playing Trickster for pre-patch, as soon as you hit max level in Midnight, Fatebound quickly emerged as the go-to spec. Not only was it simply just tuned better, but the extra energy you got from Fatebound was just too good to pass up for an iteration of Outlaw that has the major energy issues it has, even when you eventually did meet the high haste tax, which of course at the beginning of the season, you weren't. As the season started to progress, as we got our tier sets and stat weights started to be met, it emerged that we were pretty mid. Even when propped up in a fizz comp, Subtlety and Assassination weren't doing much better either. Our AoE stop airborne irritant had been for some reason taken away, leaving us with less utility than we even had in the first place. And with Subtlety just not putting out nearly as much burst as every other class, despite actually having the highest DPS gain out of any DPS spec in a game from their 4 set. And Assassination's new Apex talent leading to extremely counterintuitive gameplay in regards to energy pooling and Envenom windows. Rogue as a whole felt like shit. And all 3 specs, being pretty much the lowest performing specs, became the leper of the season pretty quickly. Even Exile got benched for the Crown Liquid world first kill, which is wild, right? Like, you know things are bad when Liquid's not even bringing a single rogue. However, Subtlety soon got some buffs, and then in early April we got some much needed buffs for Assassination and Outlaw. And as much needed as these Outlaw buffs were, they just weren't enough. And annoyingly, yet another class tuning pass where an aura buff for some reason just has to be offset by a Blade Flurry nerf, bringing it down to an abysmally low 28%. It was 50% in More Than for context, which actually turned this buff into a nerf at 5 targets or higher. Now, I did cover this class tuning at the time, and I made my position quite clear at the time on what I thought about Blizzard's strange, tentative approach to tuning us, but Outlaw tuning especially. Like, you read this and it's just like, what the fuck are we doing? And it's true. I mean, while it was a buff to single target and 2-3 target cleave, which we desperately needed now with precise cuts being gone, it was nowhere near what it could have been because it was just arbitrarily brought down by yet another unnecessary Blade Flurry nerf. And this cautious tuning did seem strange, as if we're somehow on the brink of breaking the game, despite the top Outlaw Rogue in the world complaining about being bottom of the meters every key despite being in an optimal fizz comp. Meanwhile, Unholy DKs, Devourer Demon Hunters, and to be honest, Demo Locks at the time were dropping a nuclear bomb on ad packs no matter who they were with. But to be fair, it somewhat became clear what the reasoning maybe was for this, and it was to do with this part of the tuning. Cloud cover's been updated. We'll see if that's going to kind of bring Trickster more in line with Fatebound going into the patch. I mean, I have no idea. We'll see how good that is. Yes, this brand new talent, new to 12.05, which to be fair, at the time, I kind of glanced over and didn't exactly give it the time of day. But this talent emerged as the likely reason for the cautious tuning that seemed so unnecessary at the time. Yes, Cloud Cover, a new talent for the Trickster tree in 12.05 that drops a big fat smoke bomb when you press ADR or Shadow Blades for Subtlety. This smoke bomb allowed all attacks from within the cloud to apply phased and then stack 2 additional times, increasing your target's damage taken from 8% to a whopping 24%, essentially giving Outlaw straight off the bat at least a 10% damage increase going into 12.05 as long as you swapped into Trickster. And whether you even play Rogue or not, you were probably soon made very familiar with 12.05's new talent for Trickster, because whether you liked it or not, this talent would be unceremoniously plastered over not just the users but everyone's screen, shoved in your face in all its gassy glory, along with all the frame drops associated with it, which was a wonderful addition to a tier that actually had a raid that incrementally dropped your frames with each wipe unless you muted sounds. Unsurprisingly, that got patched sharpish, which was good. I'd had enough of all the angry comments in raid chat, as if it's my fault Blizzard's just decided to make my spec a fart machine. And then from that point on, things were looking relatively peachy. We're now out DPSing the tank by quite a bit. We're viable in the highest of keys with a fizz comp, and for the time being,
everything's coming up.
Outlaw.
So it was pretty much happily ever after for the rest of the season, right? Now, of course it fucking wasn't. Well, nearly. We did get there, just with an extra step. Blizzard noticed that we were now managing to out-DPS other classes on account of this buff and decided that that was unacceptable. The very same week, slapping us with a big nerf to cloud cover, but compensating it with a 4% aura buff, with the intention of not having us depend on this talent to be the only source of our damage. But the nerf was so brutal and the compensatory buff so menial, this pretty much put us back to square one again, and Sims indicated that Trickster had been shot right back down again to Fatebound's level, potentially defeating the point of even switching at all. Which wouldn't have been the end of the world. Fatebound obviously feels better to play, but this new talent was pretty cool. And I mean, yes, cloud cover was pretty overpowered, but despite now being a bit more competitive on the meters, we were still nowhere near touching classes such as Demo Locks, Unholy DKs, or Devourer Demon Hunters, or even Arms Warriors, as long as you turned off your Blade Flurry for them. You gotta help them where you can, bless them. So it did seem like a genuine vendetta against Outlaw Rogues, which, to be honest, given our history, wouldn't exactly make you a crazy conspiracy theorist. Because we are ruling out sheer incompetency here, because anyone with a fundamental understanding of kindergarten mathematics would realise that if you don't feel the need to nerf a class doing 230k DPS overall, there's no reason to be nerfing a class doing 200k DPS overall. But TLDR, our very own Zach wrote a long forum post explaining the common sense in regards to the math. It got loads of traction, Blizzard caved, and a day or two later the compensatory aura buff got increased to 9%, more or less making us equal to what it was when cloud cover dropped in the first place. Yay. So, achieving Blizzard's goal of making our damage less reliant on cloud cover alone, while at the same time retaining the boost in damage we got with its arrival, and therefore cementing Trickster's place as the top hero spec for the season. So a little bit touch and go there. And as vindicating as it was, it did set a worrying precedent that we really shouldn't have to go and send the #1 Outlaw Rogue in every time just to course correct. Now, I mean, it may not have been because of Zach's post. Blizz might have put 2 and 2 together anyway, and realised, independently of the forum post, but the timing was coincidental, so we gave him credit anyway. And then from then on, it really was, in all honesty, smooth sailing. Since we got over that slight hump there, which I shall refer to from now on as Cloudgate, pushing keys in a Fizz comp has felt pretty good, and raiding as Outlaw has felt as good as it can do. Not, of course, on par with our golden age of Dragonflight Season 3, but probably still the best it's been feeling since Undermine, maybe. War Within Season 2, which I guess actually isn't really saying much at all. That's just saying it was better than the season before. And I know that was a season where Blade Flurry didn't work properly, but it was a good season, alright? I mean, there were still a couple of things this season really could have done better. Most of the small individual things that held back the spec we'll cover after we rifle through the 12.1 changes. We can have a little look together to see if they've been addressed or not. I've already looked, and you also probably looked as well, but we're just going to pretend like we're doing it together, okay? But the main thing I'm going to raise now, and is, I'd argue, the overarching biggest pain with the spec right now, which is energy issues. So when you've got triple threats and jackpots rolling, and you're getting lucky with ace procs, it's not too much of an issue. You've got the increased CDR from a triple threat or higher to be bringing back Blade Rush faster to gain energy, and then Killing Spree to pull energy as well. So things feed into each other a bit better. Between the eyes for ace procs, and your Thistle T stacks will get a chance to recharge without needing to use up a charge in the process. But the moment you get unlucky with rolls and you're chaining double trebles, and that CDR isn't there, everything falls apart. The spec cannot sustain the energy required to play to its GCD locked potential, and your T stacks drop so hard and fast you'd think it was brewed with tungsten. Before long, you are fighting for your life to get any ability off, clawing away to bring back Blade Rush like you're some energy junkie desperate for one more fix, and finding yourself in the only occasion where you're actually begging for Killing Spree to come back. These problems are exacerbated by trying to keep Blade Flurry up in 2 to 3 target situations. Now this is a bigger one. And this is where our energy problems really hit their peak, even with triple threat or jackpot rolling. Because you're having to refresh Blade Flurry quite often, because you don't have underhanded upper hand anymore, in Midnight keeping the duration of Blade Flurry frozen, you're expending quite a lot of energy on having to do this. But you don't have the target count to allow death maneuvers to fill out the combo points each time you do, and you'll have to supplement each Blade Flurry with an additional builder. This eats up your energy real fast, largely because death maneuvers has a pointless energy attacks tacked onto it, which makes the problem twofold with 2 to 3 target cleavers Outlaw and Midnight so far. So not only is our damage on low target counts pretty mediocre with the removal of precise cuts, god I miss precise cuts, you also don't even have the energy to sustain doing it. My other main gripe this season isn't even something to do with Outlaw, or even Rogue, to be honest with you, but with Midnight itself. And I'm going to bring it up because it's fucking annoying. And it's something that you, me, and every fucker probably saw coming a mile off. And I'm talking about the trackers from the native Blizzard cooldown manager doing this neat little magic trick all season where it just disappears itself whenever it feels like it. For Outlaw specifically, this was for Roll the Bones. You'd be chugging along, doing your rotation, and then out of nowhere, that jackpot that you could have sworn you had was no longer there, leading you to actually give it the benefit of the doubt and rolling over this jackpot, which is still there but you can't see, and wondering why you now have a one of a kind. Or other times where you do actually have the cognitive load available to realize you are currently being gaslit by the game. You now have to frantically mid-fight sift through all your buffs, trying to locate the buffs you can actually track your roll, only that you're not sure what the new icons for the new rolls look like, so you're trying to dodge your guildie hitting you with spikes for the 8th fucking time, while trying to analyze an unknown icon that's darting around your screen as other buffs expire that you think in the second or two you manage to get a glimpse of it kind of looks a bit like 3 dice, basically channeling your inner Tom Hanks as if you're decoding undeciphered scripture like you're in the fucking Da Vinci Code, all the while trying to continue executing your GCD locked rotation perfectly. Yeah, that fucking same cooldown manager that Blizzard is now stubbornly forcing us to use after nuking all third-party ones. Yeah, the one that didn't start being developed till the end of the development of the expansion they're planning to release it in. Yeah, who saw that one coming? Now, as far as I can tell, I think this issue has been fixed as a 12.07, so I'm not going to dwell too long on this, but the fact of the matter is, this should not have been a problem 3 months into the expansion. And what makes it even more frustrating is, we all knew it would. When Blizzard announces out of the blue in the transitionary period between one expansion and the next, that they are suddenly purging all third-party add-ons that can read secret data and forcing us to use our own ones in the upcoming expansion that's due to release in mere months, replacements that they've barely started developing, which are supposed to go up against intricately coded ones that have been iterated on by third-party devs for about 20 years. This by itself is obnoxious. Kind of like a bit like some petulant child at their own birthday party, sitting at the head of the table, surrounded by like a mountain of presents, just crashing out because all their guests aren't wearing the correct mandated party hats. But at least the party hats in this very specific but genuinely hypothetical scenario are pretty cool and function like they should. But if you're taking this unnecessarily stubborn authoritarian approach to how people play your game, and the alternative replacement you are forcing them into doesn't even function correctly, not only are you obnoxious, you're also now incompetent, and extremely naive to believe that you can whack them out to a sufficient quality in mere months. You might have managed to scramble together and fix stacking nameplates, barely, a month before release, but when you take the approach of a college student that decides to party all year and then start their thesis a week before deadline, a deadline, bear in mind, that no one set but Blizzard themselves, something was bound to slip through the net, and it did, and it remained there for 3 months into release, and knowing how spaghetti WoW's code is, I wouldn't be surprised if it crops up again. Very recently, I think we did get an attempt at a third-party weaker that tracks Roll the Bones, but from what I can tell, in my very limited knowledge of the API work, so if I'm getting something wrong here, please do let me know in the comments. I don't claim to be a programmer. Because it's just reading the data that WoW now allows it to, it is just sourcing it straight from the cooldown manager, essentially just acting like a reskin. So it's still disappearing and not being able to read the data itself independently like I believe a WeCore in the War Within would have been able to, I think. I don't know if this has been an issue for other specs. With certain abilities, I find it hard to believe that Outlaw would be the sole victim with this universally accessed native feature. But it would be very poetic if it was just us though, wouldn't it? We'll move on to more important things, but the TLDR to take from this. If you're going to arbitrarily out of the blue force people to use your rushed, untested product instead of the existing trusted ones that have served their purpose completely fine for years, at the very least, make sure it works. But whatever, we knew it wouldn't. Right, so with all that in mind from Season 1, let's go ahead and look at Outlaw in Season 2. So I've got the 12.1 consolidated patch notes here, which I believe are the final patch notes for the final build of 12.1. We have had incremental aura buffs and tuning passes as the month's gone on, but they've all been consolidated here in these patch notes here, so just for ease I'm going to refer to these. But let's just go over the notes together. So let's just start with the dev notes to see what they feel is the direction Outlaw needs to go. So the changes to Outlaw and Curse of Ula'tek are intended to improve talent build diversity and flexibility. We've increased the power of some underperforming talents and pulled back some that could feel locked in. Killing Spree's damage has been increased significantly because the damage it did wasn't sufficiently stronger than using other abilities during its channel would have been. That's not English. That doesn't make... Am I having a stroke? I get what they're saying. The talent should now increase your overall damage about as much as other comparable talents. So straight off the bat, that's great news, because Killing Spree, I would say, was slightly problematic this season. It just wasn't tuned high enough. It just didn't really kind of do any damage. It just felt like a filler that you just had to press to keep up, you know, for your free unseen blades and to, you know, kind of give yourself stacks of flawless form. I mean, it was a nice way to pull energy in a season where you really did need energy, but it felt terrible to press an ADR because not only did it take ages to channel and waste valuable seconds of adrenaline rush, the damage it was doing wasn't that great anyway. So you kind of largely found yourself just skipping your first one and just prepping. So let's see what they've done to it. Killing Spree's been updated. Duration no longer increases from spending combo points beyond your maximum. Each combo point spent beyond your maximum increases damage by 15%. So this is great. It sounds like they're encouraging us here to supercharge it, which is interesting. If you ever did supercharge Killing Spree in Season 1, you would be waiting an eternity for it to channel down. I can't actually think of any scenarios where I would have actually pressed or supercharged Killing Spree. I guess maybe if I'm like extremely like energy starved, maybe to pull energy, but then if I've just popped ADR, I'm not going to be that energy starved. I'm not quite sure. I don't think I really did supercharge. There might be a couple of times I did. I can't really think of a scenario off the top of my head, but when you did do it, it didn't feel great. It would take ages. So the fact they've done this is good. So you're squeezing in more damage in the same amount of time. And with this, every combo point spent beyond your maximum increasing the damage by 15%. It sounds like they really do want us to supercharge it. So that's interesting. Let's carry on. Adrenaline Rush now speeds up the execution of Killing Spree by 20%. The same rate it increases the speed of your other attacks. So perfect. This was one of the main problems of Killing Spree. Pressing it in ADR felt terrible because now we don't have 100% ADR uptime in Midnight. Whenever we do get ADR, that's our window. So we want to be using every second very wisely. So the fact that this is kind of now speeding that process up and we get the benefit of ADR on Killing Spree, this is great. It's not going to feel nearly as bad to press. Let's carry on and see what more they've done to it. Killing Spree prefers targets that are not immune to damage or taking less than 5% physical damage. Okay. Killing Spree damage increased by 60%. So there we go. Huge buff to Killing Spree. So it's going to feel much more lucrative to press. It's not going to just be some filler that you just kind of have to press to benefit Trickster. It actually sounds like it's going to hit like a truck now. So hell, I mean, if we end up playing Fatebound at any point this season, we may end up taking Killing Spree anyway. Killing Spree shots have a higher chance to target your selected target if they're valid. This one's an interesting one. Obviously, a problem with Killing Spree was the fact that it didn't really have much prio damage, which our old one did, even though our old one kind of murdered us, and that was a problem, a separate problem. At least the prio damage was very good. But obviously Killing Spree, since the rework, since it became the guns blazing thing, it kind of just randomly targets whatever it wants. So if you're kind of, you're running a high key and you've got a prio target that you want to down, and obviously you're using the other kind of, shit adds as funnel, it didn't feel great to kind of have Killing Spree just randomly just target those when you're trying to down like a prio target, especially if you're playing with like an arms warrior, for example, that needs those other shit adds up for funnel. So the fact that they've done this is good, but I do find it weird how it's just a higher chance to target your selected target. Why not just make it 100% chance? Like I feel like it was harder to code it to have a higher chance rather than just being 100% chance, because I would much rather have it just go on my prio target, and then obviously if I've got Blade Flurry up, it's going to just flurry onto the others rather than kind of hitting random targets and then flurrying off of that, right? But still, better than it was. Let's read what the dev notes say. Much of Killing Spree's value is the combo points it generates. So when players can spend more combo points on Killing Spree than their maximum, such as through Supercharger, the value of those extra points is diminished. Yeah, if you're spending more points for more damage, if it's taking longer, you're kind of like, yeah, you're barely breaking even. Exactly. Killing Spree's duration now maxes out at the time required to generate maximum combo points, and any combo points spent increase the damage of the ability by a proportional amount. So that's good. So not only have they realized that supercharging Killing Spree feels terrible in terms of kind of how long you have to wait for it, they also seem to be incentivizing us to, even though they fixed that problem, they've incentivized us even further by adding on like a multiplier that for any combo points after your maximum, right, which would only be Supercharger. So good, we like that. Moving on, Improve Between the Eyes has been updated. Causes Between the Eyes critical strikes to deal 2.5 times normal damage was 3 times. So this is a nerf, but I think because fast action's been updated, we are going to be pressing Between the Eyes a bit more. So I mean I don't know the math, but I can guess the rationale is the fact that we are going to be playing fast action, which has been updated, which we'll just read now as well. Now reduces the cooldown of Between the Eyes by 8 seconds. It was 5 seconds. And increases the damage bonus from each Between the Eyes stat by 1%. So there we go. That's basically kind of why that's being nerfed. It's just, I guess, a way of compensating, because we're not only going to be pressing Between the Eyes a lot more because we'll be playing fast action and then getting Between the Eyes back, and also because our CDR is generally just going to be better anyway with our 4 set, which we'll cover in a bit. And obviously each stat gives us an extra 1% as well, so there's that too. Right, all damage increased by 9%. So this will be a total, because we did have a 3% buff aura buff earlier in July, and then we just got a 6% one the other day. So I guess in total it adds up to 9. The aura buffs the other day were a little bit throwaway. It was just all 3 rogue specs got just aura buffs. I think it was like 10% for Subtlety's 10% for assassination, just 6% for outlaw, and there was something kind of very throwaway about that. It was just like all these other classes and specs had this kind of detailed breakdown of like, okay, well, we're doing X, Y, Z, and this is why, and we feel this. And with rogues, it's just like, you guys are bottom again. Okay, fine. You have 10, you have 10, you have 6. And it's just like, okay, cool. Yeah, you guys clearly know what you're doing. But I don't know. Maybe that's all we needed, because we seem to be doing okay now, I think. We'll see. We'll get on some training dummies in a sec. But yeah, so just a flat aura buff there. Heavy hitter increases the damage of attacks that generate combo points by 15 and 30. It was 10 and 20. So yeah, I believe we took heavy hitter anyway last season. Or did we? No, I think for single target we did, but for Mythic Plus I don't think we did. So that might now be worth taking. 0 in value per stack reduced to 2%. It was 3%. Let's see the rationale here. We don't want players to feel obligated to use offhand daggers to maximize the value of this talent. 0 in now has a 30% chance to not proc if triggered by a weapon with 1.8 speed, given it the same proc rate when attacking with daggers versus other one-handed weapons. I see what they're going for, but I feel like with poison application, you're still going to opt for an offhand dagger. It would still be an increase. I mean, I guess like you'd be less obligated than you were, but like if you're playing absolute kind of, cutting edge raider min-maxer, like you're going to be playing a dagger anyway, because just obviously the poison application is still better with a dagger in your offhand. So, but that's that. Now, here's an interesting one. Audacity now increases ambush damage by 80%. So this wasn't even the first. Let me kind of actually, let's read the one below it, because this one only came out recently. This one here was the first one to come out. So it's quite evident that Blizzard really wants us to play Hidden Opportunity, and it's just not working. But so first, in the first tuning pass, this is what we got. Hidden Opportunity's chance for ambush to grant opportunity increased to 100%. Of the chance for Sinister Strike to grant opportunity was 80. So basically, if you took Hidden Opportunity, it was an 80% chance to grant pistol shot procs, opportunity stacks, and it was kind of slightly less than it would be a Sinister Strike. So not only did you have to invest all the way down into that capstone to get Hidden Opportunity, it still wasn't even proccing opportunity as much as Sinister Strike would have done anyway. So obviously, this obviously makes it a bit better, but still, the amount of points you need to invest onto that side of the tree to get to Hidden Opportunity, while also not taking everything else on the right hand side of a tree, your AoE talents, if we're talking about Mythic Plus, no chance. So I guess Blizzard realized that we weren't going for Hidden Opportunity still, and then soon after that we got this one here related to Audacity, which goes hand in hand with Hidden Opportunity. You wouldn't really take one with the other. Audacity now also increases ambush damage by 80%. So huge buff to ambush to try and make Hidden Opportunity look a bit more appealing, but still no dice. Like we've kind of played around with some builds. I'll show you some builds in a bit. It's not worth it. You have to lose so many other stuff. The pathing to get to Hidden Opportunity is terrible, and I do kind of find this funny, because clearly I for some reason they want us to play Hidden Opportunity and press ambush, which I get, because I've always found it quite silly that for a new person that's playing Outlaw, the first thing you can have to say to them is, right, straight off the bat, before we even start, this move here, ambush, just take it off your bars. You're not even going to be using it. Just forget about it. Right, and it's just always seemed a bit silly to me that like a move that is an integral part of your kit is just purposely not used, because it's like not tuned so badly, but contingent on you having a specific talent all the way at the bottom without taking the other one. Obviously, I guess it's traditionally been keep it rolling and Hidden Opportunity. It's always seemed silly to me. I don't know why they just don't make Audacity and Hidden Opportunity one talent. And actually, to be fair, I don't even think Hidden Opportunity should be a talent. I feel like, if Sinister Strike procs opportunity and gives you pistol shot procs, like why wouldn't ambush? Like I think that just should be baseline. So I would either make Audacity and Hidden Opportunity one talent, or I would just keep Audacity and just not even have Hidden Opportunity as a talent. I mean, I don't know what you'd make that final capstone at that point, but bottom line is, we're not going to be playing Hidden Opportunity as it stands, even with the 80% increase to Ambush's damage and the fact that it now has the same chance to grant opportunity as Sinister Strike. It's just not. You have to lose too many talents to go that far. So Blizzard can chuck as many buffs as they want and throw as many things as they want at the problem. Like, it's not going to do anything until you change either the pathing to get there or just combining the talents, because obviously you would never take Audacity without Hidden Opportunity, and you would never take Hidden Opportunity without Audacity. It would be stupid. So it's not only 2 points you have to invest, but also it's just too far on the other side of a tree. It's just, yeah, not to mention it would kind of like not even be worth taking it without going into Subterfuge, I imagine, which means then you couldn't go into Supercharger. I don't know, just either way, Hidden Opportunity is not working. And the thing is, maybe this would have swayed things if Vanish was still on offensive cooldown and we still had underhanded upper hand, where or rather crack shot windows, right? Because then you would actually be getting a lot more value out of ambush. You'd be pressing ambush a lot more. But realistically, in Midnight, where going into stealth windows is no longer a regular thing you're doing every 20 seconds or so, and Vanish is on a 2-minute cooldown, not affected by Restless Blades, the only times you're really pressing ambush are the procs that you get. So I feel like Blizzard should have kind of probably realized this, that because of how fundamentally different Outlaw is now in Midnight and barely ever in Subterfuge windows, you can't just kind of leave Hidden Opportunity there at the bottom of the talent tree and treat it the same as it was in the War Within, because it's now like its stocks have now just dropped even further than they were in the War Within, because like Outlaw just does not have that gameplay style now. I think Hidden Opportunity is this kind of, you know, sick dog that we maybe just need to just put down or just make baseline. And also I think that bug that we had in the War Within, where your Audacity procs would trigger like 3 times, which did feel good, you know, in that kind of small brief period of season 2 of War Within where we played Hidden Opportunity. That's not going to be there anymore, and I feel like a lot of people do miss Hidden Opportunity, but I don't think they realise that even if we were going to play Hidden Opportunity and these numbers were buffed to a point where I was like, okay, fine, we'll play it, it's not going to feel like it did. It's not going to be the Hidden Opportunity you're used to. For like the War Within, it's going to feel pretty, you know, mediocre. So yeah, you think you want it at the moment, but you probably don't. So, but I don't know. Blizzard just seems to be gunning for it. I don't know. We'll see what comes out of that. Oh yeah, and obviously, of course, that they went even further, and they're like, Hidden Opportunity also reduces ambush's energy cost by 5. Like, they really want us to play these 2 talents, and I just don't know why they just haven't kind of put 2 and 2 together, and rather than just kind of throwing buffs at the situation and seeing what sticks, just kind of maybe taking the time to go, oh, maybe we just need to rework the pathing, maybe we just need to combine these talents, or maybe we just make this baseline. Yeah, it just... But anyway, let's move on. Summarily Dispatched increases dispatch damage by 15% for the first point, and then 30% for the second point. It was 10 and 20. So I think maybe we took 1 actually maybe for Trickster, because we had to put 1 into Killing Spree. I forget. But I imagine we will definitely be putting both points in this season, not only because it's just a damage buff, but also because of our Forset, which we will cover in a sec. Our Forset is basically just free dispatches, so we're going to be pressing a lot of dispatches this season, so I imagine we're going to be putting both points into this. Nice big dispatches. And new connectors have been added in the talent tree between Ruthlessness and Find an Opening, and between the Flickering Steel Choice Node and Grand Melee. We will go over the pathing in a sec in game. So let's have a look at talents in game. And we're at the Dummy Dome, which is a new addition to 12.1 actually, which is actually a godsend. It certainly makes my life easier when making this sort of content, so I fucking love this. I can literally just kind of put any amount of dummies and kind of any formation that I like, and then also have my cooldowns reset when I take those dummies away. So this is kind of what I've been wanting for a long time, so yeah. This is the Dummy Dome. But yeah, so we're going to check out the talents while we're here. So before we actually put some dummies up, this is the talent tree for Outlaw going forward. So straight off the bat, you might notice there is a brand new connector here from Ruthlessness to Find an Opening, which wasn't there before. You had to either kind of go via Heavy Hitter here or Audacity, which obviously you definitely wouldn't be doing. So we've got this here now. I'm currently not using a build that does this, so as of now, the build I'm currently kind of testing out, and kind of, I guess the build I've been kind of running dungeons with so far, is really not that much different to the build on live. I'm pretty sure this probably won't be the build that we're running going forward, but it's just what I've just been, until kind of a concrete one emerges, this is kind of the one I've been running with, and essentially apart from, I mean, this is what I was running on live, and basically all I've really done is just take away Sleight of Hand and put it into fast action, which we definitely would want to use. this season because it's a lot better. So I will try a few different builds while we're here. And I know that I did say when we were looking at the patch notes that we'd probably be putting 2 points into Summarily Dispatched, seeing as this is going to be a tier where we are pressing dispatch a lot. But I'm not quite sure how we're going to get there, so we might just fumble around and figure that one out as we go. Which obviously reminds me, the full set. So actually, let's look at that straight off the bat. So this is going to be our full set, or our tier set, going forward for Season 2. So the 2 set is just a flat 15% buff to dispatch. And then the 4 set, Sinister Strike and Ambush have a 20% chance to cause your next dispatch to be free and deal damage as if you spent the maximum combo points. So it's kind of similar to the coup de grace, the double coup de grace tier set we had at the end of War Within Season 3, but a little bit better because this could just proc at any point, and it is not contingent on your unseen blade stacks to reach a coup, and then you can use it. Like, this can just proc at any point. So it's, in my opinion, in terms of kind of getting CDR, a better version of that, which is nice. I actually like this full set, and you'll see it in action in just a sec. So let's do a poll. Let's put 5 targets stacked.
Check in real soon.
And we still have to press slice and dice manually, unfortunately. So we got double. Didn't get the ace proc, so we got to send. We can send Killing Spree of Supercharger, and then we'll prep. Roll again, triple threat, extend it. Actually, I could have just sent the second Killing Spree with that Supercharger, but I'd send it on a dispatch instead, so that was probably a mistake. So there you go, there's a free dispatch from the tier set, that's our first one. So I've found that if you have enough CDR, in your opener, and this will be especially the case after prepping, right? Because you'll get way more CDR from having 2 ADRs. You can actually chain your keep it rollings. So we're probably going to get... because we've already extended this triple threat, right? So look, we're going to actually make it and get to extend that triple threat right there, just. So it's very easy to do if you get... I mean, you can't really do it with double trouble, right? Because you just don't have enough CDR. But if you've got triple threat or higher, and you've got prep, you can very easily chain your first keep it rolling. So, and you can also do it kind of without... Like, you're very lucky with CDR and procs from the... I'm going to roll now. That's why I don't munch loaded dice. And then... okay, play very luck. So yeah, if you can get very lucky with CDR, and even without prep, you can chain a CDR. It's kind of, it's all dependent on how many kind of ace procs you get, how many procs of your tier set. But it's nice because it kind of leads you to the situation where, worst case scenario, if you don't actually quiet make chaining your let's roll. If you don't quiet make chaining your keep it rolling, you're always going to have like loaded dice up. Like you're potentially munching loaded dice stacks a lot more than you usually are. So you're kind of you're doing fine for rolls, which makes kind of part of the reason why I've kind of got rid of slight and just gone into fast action instead. As you can see, it just flows nicer, man. Like, I mean, obviously if you are just chaining double troubles, then it does kind of like fall apart. But I think it just that extra CDR from, there you go, from your tier set. So the combo point stays when you spend that free dispatch. We're not quite gonna extend that one, unfortunately. Oh, no, I just wasted fucking keep it rolling and miss it by a second. That's so annoying. Oh well. Yeah, there we go. Supercharged Killing Spree. And obviously you can notice, I forgot to bring it up, obviously Killing Spree goes a lot faster now in ADR, which is nice. But did you see that? I mean, obviously I just missed that jackpot and just ended up wasting keep it rolling on nothing. But I mean, you would never have got that close in season 1, right? So it's kind of nice that that's doable. We can play around with some builds here, because I feel like as hard as it is to go down this side of a tree, especially in a Mythic Plus build where you need kind of your AoE talents on this side, I feel like Summarily Dispatched is going to be really good with this tier set, considering how much or how many more dispatches you're casting, right? So I'm thinking maybe we get rid of Zero In. I would say Fast Action certainly devalues Zero In, because I guess the less time until you're next Between the Eyes, the less potential this talent can reach, and obviously bringing back your Between the Eyes faster is what this talent here is all about. So let's drop Zero In. We have to kind of work our way down there. We do now have this nice connector here that Blizzard have put in for 12.1 to kind of get down here, and I mean, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I think we are gonna have to kind of do it this way. I don't know what else would. I mean, I don't know what else we'd get rid of, because I want to put both points in. So I need to get 2 more points. I mean, I guess. Do we get rid of prep, or maybe improve Between the Eyes? I mean, I don't know what we even do here. I feel like if I get rid of this, it defeats the point of having this. But I guess maybe we're after just the frequency of Between the Eyes for the damage bonus stacks, rather than the flat damage of Between the Eyes itself. So maybe we get rid of... Well, no, oh no, but then obviously, you need to have that. I mean, I don't know what I get rid of at that point. I mean, I guess I have to get rid of prep and keep it rolling, but then that seems like suicide without sleight of hand. Well, this is going to be extremely experimental. This feels wrong, but I mean, fuck it, let's just give it a go. God, this feels weird. All right, well, let's just see how it goes. The ace proc. Well, I got very lucky with ace procs there. Oh yeah, I'll see no prep. So we're stuck with a double treble. So no, I mean, another prep. I mean, a prep and another ADR would have given us a kind of another shot at getting something higher than a double trouble. So we are now stuck in this double trouble to our next organically resetting ADR, which feels terrible. Oh, and I guess actually now you don't have we've taken away keep it rolling, so I can't really roll over double troubles and try and gamble for something higher anymore. So yeah, this feels really clunky and weird. No. Let's just, fuck this off. Yeah, don't like this at all. I didn't think this was going to be good. Well, I did say I'll try and show you a hidden opportunity build. With Trickster, seeing as 1 point has to be in Killing Spree, and more specifically for a Mythic Plus Trickster build, I genuinely have no idea how you'd even achieve that. So let's just fuck around with talents. I mean, we'd have to get rid of this and this. So let's go down. So we need Audacity. We're going to find an opening. Yeah, we need like another talent. So I mean, what do we get rid of? I mean, do we get rid of that as well? Do we go one fan of hammer? Like, I mean, how do we even get there? I mean, maybe we take out Improve Between the Eyes and put that into Keep It Rolling. And it also begs the question, like, would it be worth even going into Subterfuge? I guess not, because I guess the main damage from Ambush is actually going to be from the Audacity procs outside of stealth, rather than actually using them in stealth. So I guess maybe we could just do it without Subterfuge. I feel like losing Supercharger would just be very silly. So for, just for the sake of experimentation, I mean, we could give this a go. I mean, would we rather have prep or keep it rolling? We can't even go into prep because I've done a one founder hammer build. We can't do a one founder hammer build. That would be silly. I'm gonna have to take something out. Bear with me. I'm trying to figure out the math here. What would you even do? What would I even do? Do you see what I mean now? This is what happens when, like, not only is the pathing terrible, but like you've tied an entire hero spec which happens to be performing better to a move which is basically compulsory. So that's one talent that's already essentially a write-off. Now add 2 more talents that you need for Hidden Opportunity to even work. You have to take both Hidden Opportunity and Audacity, and they're all on this fucking side of a tree, and it's like, well, fuck it, should we just do a 1 fan of hammer build? Well, I guess we lose keep it. Well, actually, let's first try it with 2 fan of hammer, and then I guess we just don't have any keep it rolling or prep. I guess we do it this way. This is gonna feel terrible though. Oh yeah, oh no, I can't lose fast action, that's the problem. That seems terrible. Oh well, let's just try this. Like, we're just spitballing here, who gives a shit? So, let's try this absolutely cursed build. So we got a jackpot straight off the bat, so that's going to skew the results slightly as our first Audacity proc. We didn't actually get to benefit from the very first ambush from stealth, because we blew it with Blade Flurry. So maybe you'd have to pre-Blade Flurry and then ambush, I don't know. Okay, well, this is kind of gone nicely so far because we had the jackpot, but now we're on a double treble, so we're probably now going to see how this build really feels. I mean, it's doing more than meters than I thought it would, I'll be honest with you, but I think that's probably just a bit because of the jackpot, right? Well, let's give it a bit. There haven't been that many Audacity procs so far, I'll be honest. Oh, there we go, there's one. I kind of have to supplement it when I land on 5. Oh. Sorry, I'm trying to watch from Audacity procs. I'm not keeping an eye on the trackers. I have to supplement it on 5 combo points with an Audacity proc sometimes, and I feel like it's like a waste of combo points, which doesn't feel great. Yeah, well, I mean, it's keeping up more than I thought it would, but it's just not worth it though, because it's just not going to beat all the talents I have on the right hand side. Oh, another jackpot. This is definitely going to skew the results. I mean, because I feel like I'm getting very lucky this attempt, but I feel like a lot of the time you're going to have very bad luck protection against bad rolls with this build, you know, not having prep for a second chance, and not having keep it rolling either. Oh, I should not have sent between the eyes there, that was silly of me. So maybe you would have to take a slight with this build, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know about this. Like, yeah, it's functioning, but just it's not doing as good as other builds. Now it's even having 2 jackpots on this pull, so yeah, I don't think Hidden Opportunity is going to have its day in the sun anytime soon. And then we're now in a one of a kind. I'm wondering if it's worth trying a 1 Fanner Hammer build and giving myself... Well, we can't go into prep if we're going to go 1 Fanner Hammer. Let's try, just for science, Hidden Opportunity and keep it rolling. Hey, it's like the mega hybrid build we've been waiting years for, like a Hidden Opportunity, keep it rolling build. Maybe this is finally the time we're going to Frankenstein our way into the build we've wanted for years. Let's give it a go. Alright, I mean, it's just like this is stupid now, but like, fuck it, why not? It's my video. I mean, I guess maybe we need Slight as well, but then what? I can't really take anything else out for it. And we've already got rid of that as well. Whatever, let's just... Can you imagine if we get like a jackpot and we extend it with Hidden Opportunity? That would be actually like best case scenario. And we actually might hit like quite a lot. Let's just see. Let's see how we go. Oh, we got a double trouble. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, so that means we're not going to be able to press keep rolling for a while if we don't have prep. Let's see. Oh yeah, one of a kind. Alright, this isn't going well. Alright, hang on, here's ADR. Alright, well, we got double trouble again, of course. Alright, one of a kind. Oh my god. Yeah, so as a result, like, we've gone down to like under 400k, like, so this is just... The lows of this are going to be very low. This is obviously not going to be a viable build. Alright, jackpot. Alright, there we go. We're gaming. Let's do it. We extended it. A full minute of jackpot. And Hidden Opportunity, let's do it. I mean, we're already so far down the meters now. Let's see how far we can like claw our ways back up to. So we're about to bank another loaded dice here, so that's nice. We got that. The later. We'll make our way back up again. Obviously not very far, but... Oh, actually, are we gonna actually... Oh, I could have actually extended that again. I nearly just missed that. Oh, another jackpot, let's go! Alright, let's do it. So this is like best case scenario with the Hidden Opportunity build. You get back-to-back jackpots, and then maybe maybe then you'll out DPS the. Oh yeah, and this. Oh yeah, of course. I was wondering why my opportunity sack was so wanky. I'm playing one fan of hammer as well. Yeah, so actually, despite playing one fan of hammer, the energy issues don't seem that bad. Oh, again, double trouble. I think this might be it, boys. I will wait for someone else to create a more viable hidden opportunity build if it is viable, and then test it then. But right now, like, I'm not gonna bother playing these silly games. Fuck hidden opportunity for now. Like, we're done. But yeah, I mean, we could be all night and just play around with builds, but you know, I'll let you kind of get on the PTR, or actually by the time this comes out, probably the live servers, and test out some builds for yourself. I mean, I feel like the best one's going to emerge from Sims within the next day or two. This isn't really a video to kind of show you what the best build is. That's going to be a video kind of when the season starts. But I just wanted to kind of show you just how Outlaw is feeling in general in Season 2, and mainly kind of show off the new tier set, the killing spree changes, and just the general improved cooldown reduction, and also energy issues which seem to have been solved. So hopefully I've shown that off adequately. But yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised. Outlaw is feeling a lot better in Season 2 than it did in Season 1 in terms of the general flow. Like I said, cooldown reduction is just abundantly better. Not only are we now playing fast action that kind of brings back between the eyes quicker to then get you to the point where you're potentially getting ace chain procs sooner, but also just the dispatches that you're getting now and again from the tier set. Just both of those things are just contributing to way more CDR, to the point where you actually are now chaining keep it rolling. Like, you're actually keep it rolling twice on the same roll, which you could not have done in Season 1. So that's great. And yeah, energy issues feel way better. So obviously earlier in the video I was telling you about how kind of one of the main pain points of Outlaw in Season 1 was just energy. I know I did say it was specifically in 2 to 3 target cleave, which we haven't really tested here. Well, we didn't test it at all. We just did 5 target stack dummies. But I can tell that energy is just way better every pull we did. And no matter what the build was, no matter what shit roll I got, I could pretty much finish off these dummies, and there was at no point where, you know, abilities were starting to be grayed out from being energy starved. Like, that just didn't happen once. Just for general cleave, energy does seem to be sold. I guess for 2 to 3 target cleave, you still have the problem where death maneuvers isn't filling out combo points. I will do my research on that over the next couple of days. But the extra CDR is definitely going to make that feel better regardless. So another thing I want to bring up, way the catalyst is going to work next season. So as you might already be aware, for Season 2, any piece that you put into the catalyst to change into tier will come out with the same secondaries as the piece that you put in, which is great news. You're now going to be able to kind of farm gear for the secondaries you want, and then put that in and then retain those secondaries, which means it's going to be a lot easier to reach our haste tax, which means we're going to have a lot more headroom, I guess, to either stack crit or verse, depending on which one we're going to stack. And if it is still crit again, like it was last season, we're going to have a lot more left over to then start stacking into verse anyway after that, and then we can just have practically 0 mastery, which is really good. And that's just obviously that's an improvement for all specs, but for us especially, because we are one of the specs that have an incredibly high haste tax, especially as Trickster, right? It's not so bad to fate down, but things we're going to be it looks like we're going to be playing Trickster, and yeah, it's going to be about, I guess, 25% again. So that feeds in nicely to Outlaw feeling a bit better next season. There are some things that I would still change, and things that still haven't been changed, which I wish they had. First one off the top of my head is the fact that we still have to manually press slice and dice before an encounter. Like, obviously a key, it doesn't really matter. You can just ADR before the key goes in on the timer, and then you'll have like a free supercharger to kind of just give yourself slice and dice before you start the first pack. But for a raid encounter, we still have to do that, and that's obviously unfortunately due to the fact that slice and dice only automatically gets applied from a dispatch, not from between the eyes. And it didn't really matter in the war within, because a crack shot between the eyes also did a passive dispatch, so you got the slice and dice anyway. Between the eyes doesn't work like that anymore. So unfortunately, Blizzard didn't kind of, I guess, realize this going into Midnight, and slice and dice being automatically applied hasn't really been amended to factor in the change to between the eyes and Midnight. I don't know if that's intentional or not, but it is an annoying thing. Another thing I still don't like the fact that Ace Up Your Sleeve doesn't fully refund 6 combo points like it did in the War Within. You still have to supplement an ace with a builder, even with the change that we got around 1205, I believe it was. The chance got increased with that change, which was nice. It just still feels a bit shit to have to potentially overcap combo points just to do an optimal between the eyes at 6 or more. Obviously a Gravedigger version of an ace proc is basically kind of what I want from ace. So even if you have to maybe even like lower the chance a tiny bit to give us the full 6 combo points, I prefer that. And another thing that kind of relates to the energy issues that I was talking about in Season 1, which I think I did cover, is Death Maneuver is just having this pointless energy cost tacked onto it. So as you can see, it's like the energy cost gets increased by 30 just to have this talent, which I feel like is very silly. And even though energy issues do seem to be resolved this season, I still feel like 2 to 3 targets, while still feeling better than it did in season 1, will still be a problem. So there's gonna be more council fights. There's one in the new raid. There's also a council fight boss in the new Mythic Plus dungeon pool. I think Blinding Veil has a council fight. So we're gonna feel it again there. We're just gonna be in this problem where we're expending so much energy to keep Blade Flurry up, but then at the same time not having the combo points to fill it out because there's only 3 targets there. And I fear we may end up still just running out of T-stacks for situations like that. And we don't even have the damage to compensate for that either because Precise Cuts is gone. So I feel like 2 to 3 target cleave could have been something they could have focused on to improve, because it's a shame we used to be kings at 2 to 3 target cleave. Soul Hunters in Season 3 of War Within was one of the only encounters in Mana Forge Omega where you actually wanted to bring an Outlaw Rogue. We were kings at 2 to 3 target cleave. And now we've gone from absolute hero to 0. So I would have liked to have seen a bit more attention to that. Blizzard at least acknowledging that that's a problem and doing something to sort that. So maybe as time goes on, maybe that is something we'll see in the future. Fingers crossed. So that about wraps it up for now. Like I said, I have hopes. Things look promising, so we shall see in a couple of days, and I guess in the coming weeks, how viable we really are. But how do you think Outlaw's looking next season? Are you excited for the changes? Are you still a bit dismayed with how it's playing since the War Within? Are you someone new that's about to try it for the first time because of how promising it's looking? Or are you really just not bothered either way? I mean, like, whoever you are, whatever it is, let me know in the comments. I'd really love to hear what you have to say. I, of course, will be jumping in on Wednesday, being in the EU, so I will be on Twitch streaming, smashing out some Mythic Zeros in the first week. So if you want to come check out some Outlaw content as soon as 12.1 drops, come hang out, the more the merrier. But thanks for hanging out, appreciate it. I know it was a long one. I'll catch you all very soon in 12.1, but until then, as always, take care.